Hi, today we will be going over paper called as Primer, searching for efficient transformers for language modeling by David Aso, Wozniak Menke, Hangshou Liu, Jihang Dai, Noam Sajir, and Quickfield Lee from Google Research team. Overall, this paper contributes two factors. First, is it provides an architecture for neural network search, where the objective is to create the best efficient model architecture and the search can be performed at a lower level. And second, using the best network architecture search, they have actually performed it on a vanilla transformer, and using that they have created a new architecture called as Primer, where it has in the Primer's model it modifies the original vanilla transform model by squaring a value activations and adding a depth-wise convolution layer after each query, key and value projections in self-attention. We will be going over in depth and understand more on these things. However, if you like this content, do share among your social and hit like for this. For more content, you can subscribe and any opinions or suggestions will be best mentioned in the comments below. All the links for the paper, codes and social is been mentioned in the description of the video. So first let's understand how search-based architecture works. For example, let me go some blank space. In neural networks, we have seen many models and the architecture such as ResNet, where inputs skip residual blocks or functional blocks to preserve the gradients. If there are n number of layers, basically the inputs would skip connection and provides the value to the next layers. If it contains the f of x, this layers provide the function of f of x, then the next layer would take f of x plus the x of the previous ones. This we have seen on the transformer architecture also, where the skip connection works. And this actually helps in cloning of the vanishing or exploding gradients in a neural network. Now, apart from this also, let's take one more example. For example, in DenseNet, then there is not just one layer that goes to the next skip connection. There would be every layers that would be connecting with the every next layers, like these things. And so this provides a dense network architecture, and that's why its name is DenseNet. This means all the different architectures have their own capabilities. Some provides a better efficient results, some actually provides better accuracy, and so on. And they are provided in different types of data sets and other things. So it's important to search many models around these things. Like in Transformer also, we have seen many architectures coming as VGGNet, Perceiver, GPT, BERT, and so on. So for this thing, in this paper, the major objective was to create an efficient variation of transformers, which would be requiring less training cost. This is a problem of searching where we would require the best layers in the model for each step. For example, now here they have actually provided that they are going at a code level. For example, in a convolution, we do write the code as first a sequential model, then for example a 3 into 3 con, then there can be an addition layer, or here actually we can add a max pooling, and then a dropout, and so on. So if anybody has worked on deep learning, they do know that these things, the parameters, they do modify as per the accuracy. Now to automate these things, the neural network search works the best, and it is a quadratic complexity problem again, as because for example in one layer also there can be n number of items that can be added to the layer, such as convolution or addition or multiplication or any other sequential models can be added to the first layers, and this can be applied to the second layer, third layer, and so on. And if there are m number of layers, so the complexity to search around and provide the best search space goes into n into m, which actually these papers tries to reduce using their code. Previously, there have been many improvements done in this space, such as NASNet and evolution gradients, but they haven't gone to the basic code level till now. Here the major contribution in this paper they have provided is the creation of an efficient search space network that can go through the code level and thus provides a more in-depth, a very unique based understanding of searching at the best efficient networks. So here in the search space and search method, let's understand more on these things now. Search space thus provides a searching architecture where the search method can actually searches and provides the best model architecture for our methods. Now, search methods has been in this paper they have provided using the search method as an evolutionary search, which actually has been previously. It is the same thing that has been previously implemented in some of the in other papers. But the search space is something that is been new in this paper that they have introduced. So first let's go over the search space. Here, first we can see there is a DNA model which contains subprogram 0, which is their initial main function of the model. Using the initial function, we would perform an evolutionary search which will provide the next possible subprograms. Subprograms would be the best subprograms would be like these things. For example, this could be the best efficient subprogram for the task that we need to do. To get a better subprograms is something that we need to search, and for that there is subprogram bank, which contains a list of subprograms that can be mapped to the subprogram 0. Now each subprogram is an index array of instructions with no length constraints. and this instructions is then converted to TensorFlow code by referencing the TensorFlow primitives vocab or subprogram bank. Now this TensorFlow primitives vocab actually contains predefined vocabulary for TensorFlow functions. So overall, it or any operation from the subprogram bank maps with the instructions to generate TensorFlow code. The whole list of TensorFlow programs primitives has been listed in this paper that they have provided. Do note that the primitives are yes, this is the TensorFlow primitives vocabulary. If you see here, this is just the basic level of primitives programs and does not contain some advanced functions such as the attention models and other things. And these primitives thus requires some arguments such as input 1, input 2, constant and dimension size. Now this thing actually we have seen on the architecture also. Let me bring up that thing again. Okay. So every instruction does provides the inputs some arguments such as input 1, input 2, constant and hidden dimension size. And it's just that for every function that the operation that it's mentioned in the instruction, if the now we need to, for it generated TensorFlow code, we need to provide some arguments to the TensorFlow code also. For that note, this arguments would be helpful. Input 1 would be the first input, input 2 would be the second input. Now so input 2 would be only used mostly if some if there is some binary operations like add or multiply needs to be done on the functions. Constant when some value or optimization function or any other thing is required. And hidden dimension actually provides the dimension of the output size. Example you can actually see for the convolution that they have provided. Now this conv 1 into 1 is the operation can be generated using the primitive vocab or the subprogram bank. Overall, if we go deep down into the subprogram also, it does contain different types of instructions in the subprogram, and using the instruction and the arguments, then if subprogram is being created, and that subprogram actually for easy understanding you can understand it as a one type of layer that's added to the model. And the whole thing, so there could be multiple subprograms. Let's create subprogram as there could be multiple subprograms, and each subprogram will constitute to one model, and there could be multiple models like these things. And we need to then search the efficient model among these models. So right now we have understood the primitives, how the base of the search can be happen on a general level of the code, on a code level basis. Now let's understand how actually this search actually happens. Here they have provided first they have provided that they have done an evolutionary search on these things in to search over the layers, the subprograms of the models. Now they have provided the basic of the evolutionary search is to find the most training efficient architecture in the search space. To do this, we give each model a fixed training budget of 24 TPUs version 2 hours and define its fitness as its perplexity on the 1 billion words benchmark. So basically here they have provided that they are actually looking for a better efficient model, and for that their approach is to provide first a training budget and to aim to reduce the training or inference step time when optimizing for efficiency. Here they have provided one example. For instance, a modification that doubles the step time but triples the same efficiency is a good modification in their search, as it ultimately makes the architecture more compute efficient. So let's first understand what this evolutionary search is. This is actually a type of a regularized evolution with hurdles. Evolutionary search is like a tournament selection search that we understand most often. Let's now we know that now going apart from the neural network search, how the evolution actually happens in a human life. There are multiple species that actually has been created first. Then after some point of time, this species would be aging and some species would die. Some would die early, some would die late. But during that time in between, they can create some child processes that could inherit their properties. Some could not create some child and some can. Now these child properties would be the younger offsprings that thus contains the same properties of their parent classes and also can extend the life of the human life. This is just a very crude example of the evolution that actually happens. Now, taking into account of these species, there could be multiple functions in the models that actually thus start from a parent level, and using that it would decay itself but also create some offsprings, and this whole thing would create one model. There could be hundreds and thousands or millions of models which would be created by this evolutionary search and would provide the fittest models, and only the fittest models would go to the next level, and the rest would be discarded. We can actually see this example in one of the papers. So this is the paper called as Regularized Evolution for Image Classifier Architecture Search. This actually provides this idea where they have done an efficient convolution search on the national search space using reinforcement learning. So overall means using reinforcement learning, they try to provide a best convolution neural networks for a model. Now the basic thing is the aging evolution that they have provided here. This is the same architecture that we are using for our paper also. There would be a population first and a history. Now after a while we would take some sample, and this sample would create some of offsprings, and these offsprings would then mutate and create some child, and after this child some of the oldest people would be dead, and the next child would create the next offsprings, and so do the cycle would be going. Now in our sense, let's understand on the neural network thing, how does it works. So actually for that also they have provided the whole idea. So as they have provided how the evolution search actually happens on this neural network search page. First, a population size of 100 is being taken, and a tournament selection size of 10 is being taken. Now, tournament selection, I do think so many of you would be knowing, is a popular one to find the fittest among a group of models. Now, every of these candidates would actually mutate. So this can the mutation could be a deletion, removal of an instruction from a subprogram, or insertion of some program, deletion and insert, or from some delete and insert on a subprogram, change the value of a muted field is a mutation, swap the position of the two instructions in a randomly selected subprogram, or the muted bank value, change the value of a relative tensor dimension or constant in the corresponding bank. So using this mutation, actually we do create some of the child processes or offsprings, which actually does contain the traits of the parent, but also is some kind of different than their parents, if you can understand. In addition to this, they have actually added hurdles. Now hurdles, let me provide some context on the hurdles first. Now this is the paper called as the Evolved Transformer. This is the main paper that actually provides the idea of the hurdles in an evolutionary search. So the idea is that as it thus contains a good amount of time to perform an evolutionary search on a transformer, there could be a case in regularized evolution search where we would drop a child models who are performing poorly now, but could in the next layers would perform better than the rest, and vice versa. So a kind of early stopping mechanism needs to be provided to early detect these models and thus filter out the efficient ones from inefficient at the start. So in that case, the hurdles has been provided. So this hurdles begins as an ordinary tournament selection evolution search architecture with early stopping. Now I will show you this image. The model number are increasing as the number of models has been added to the search space. Now here there can be multiple models, and the fitness thus provides how much better the model is in terms of its accuracy of efficiency. Now first, for a specific amount of time, specific amount of number of steps in the model number, we would select, for example here we have taken this thing, and for these models we would then create an average of the baseline of the fitness. So for, as you can see, for, let me change another color. As we can see now, for these things, these models, a average fitness of this point has been gained. So for example, this is the fitness for the next. Now for the next models after this, this models has to go above this fitness level, and the models which have gone in above to this fitness level has to move, provided some additional steps to train more and to get and to increase the fitness scores. Now after some period of time, again we would be creating a baseline fitness of these models, and using the threshold of this previously model fitness scores, we would create a fitness level, and after that all the other models whose fitness score is better than the threshold that we have defined would given some more additional steps to be better at the model execution training times, and the one who aren't, they would be stuck in here. Here they have provided some more context that although the different child models may train for different number of steps before being assigned to their final fitness, this does not make their fitness incomparable. Tournament selection evaluation is only concerned with relatively fitness rank when selecting which subpopulation members will be killed and which would become parents. The margin by which one candidate is better or worse than the other members of the population does not matter. Assuming no model overfits during training, which is what we observe in our experiments, and that its fitness monotonically increases with respect to the number of training steps it is allocated. A comparison between two child models can be viewed as a comparison between their fitness at the lower of the two cumulative training steps. So overall, it doesn't matter that if a child process have given more training steps to get more fitness levels. It is just important to be better at its parents model to generalize more and to reduce the overfitting of the models. This is a basic context of the hurdles that is been added to the Douglas evolution. This is the same thing that we have actually added at our paper also. Here we can see, let me first give some context on these things. Now here they have provided that they have used the regularized evolution with headers. We configure our headers using a 58th percentile passing bar and space them such that equal compute is invested in each header band. So here we can actually see they have added a hurdle somewhere here, and using these things, here again the number of individuals are there and a fitness score is there. After 50 level, the best models is being evaluated and the rest is being dropped out if they aren't performing well. This is better than the random that they have provided, which doesn't contain the context of the old models that actually can provide risk. And for same thing that we have seen for hurdles, here also they have added the hurdles, if you can see, based on the fitness, and the 50% of the models will be going to the next levels and be trained for multiple level of steps to become better at the parent level, from the parent level. Now that's the basic idea of the search based algorithms and what this paper has provided in contributed in terms of it. Using these search based parameters, now they have created a new model architecture called as Primer. Now it is just a simple idea where they have added first a depth-wise convolution filter for each query key. Okay, each query key and value pairs. In a feed-forward neural networks where they usually use ReLU, now they are just querying the ReLU function and providing to the output. Now not much of the context is being provided that how it is efficient or better than the standard transformer. Just they have provided that glue and the variants of glue such as ReGlue had previously used the square ReLU on their model architecture, which we can see here also. Basically, if the U and V matrix of the ReGlue are to be the same, then it will be similar to the square ReLU function that usually is being provided for the optimization functions. Apart from this, also they have added some more modifications which actually like sharing query and key depth first representation, pre and post normalization, some custom normalization, some borderline projection, some post softmax spatial kitting, and extensionist modifications. These modifications are not much significant, but they are effective. So if needed, you can go over the paper and can understand more on these things. We can actually directly go to the metrics right now. Basically, for the searching task, the Primer architecture is being better at searching. It's provided speed up factor in terms of searching, the speed up factor in terms of how better it searches to provide the efficiency of a vanilla transformer. And here we can see the primer, and primer is that as they are provided is that better than the transformer or transformer plus plus or transformer with added of GALU, which does contain the similar function of square GALU. However, now here they have actually, this paper is very long and they have provided a lot of more context in terms of one short task that they have done, some kind of one short task, and how it does provide some better efficiency than GPT-3, even though the GPT-3 is not open source. But that's if needed, we can go over the paper and can understand it. I would be skipping that thing. Finally, they have this paper is still not the efficient paper that they have provided, as they have provided that their main motive was not to provide a better results. It's just that to go to a code level search space architecture and does provide an efficient model that actually does better than the vanilla transformer. Here they have provided the context also. The main finding here is that although the primer modifications improve upon vanilla transformer, they perform only as well as transformer plus plus. This result suggested that the architectural modifications that work well for decoder-only autoregressive language models may not necessarily be as effective for encoder-based masked language models. Developing an architecture that also works well for masked language model is a topic for future research. And finally, in the footnotes, they have provided some more modifications in terms of transformer and primer. Here, that in the main transformer, how the first subprograms modifies. This is the subprogram 1. The previous was subprogram 0. This is the first one, the self-attention model, where the query and key projection share weights has been added here, and a softmax special getting that we have seen has been added, and a lot more things has been provided for each transformer and primer. In addition to that, the whole architecture is been also provided, and the raw codes also. If needed, you can go over the code and can understand these things. Apart from this, they actually provided the code also of the primer, which I will be saying in the link in the description below, and you can go through over that. Overall, this paper is very interesting paper, and it has a potential to create better architectures that can reduce the memory bandwidth and the time and compute constraints that a transformer requires to perform during training. However, the author has limited this paper to a vanilla transformer right now. So that's why it isn't that much groundbreaking to understand. But given enough time and modification, I can think that it can provide some of the best architecture in the future using the same logic. So that's it from my side. If you like this content and you want to support it, please feel free to like and support this content, and see you in the next video. Thanks.